topic of mentally you, please welcome to the stage Dr. Kylene Krause, PhD, and clinical social worker Karen Ledford. Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, the topic today is the topic of mindfulness, and that comes up a lot lately. So, first question, and you can both answer this or kind of divvy them up. Is that okay? Okay. What is mindfulness, and how do we benefit from it?
The definition of mindfulness is paying attention on purpose in a particular sort of way, in the moment, non-judgmentally. That last piece is really hard, the non-judgmental part.
And we get tons of benefit from it. That's one of the reasons that we're starting to see so much out there in the media about mindfulness lately, is some of this research is starting to come out that's showing some of the changes in our brain. They're doing some MRI scans that are showing some of the white matter in our brains kind of changing. They're showing increase in some of the gray matter, for example, in our hippocampus, which is the part of our brain that's in charge of learning and memory. So learning and memory is going up there, and then a decrease in the gray matter in parts like the amygdala, which is in charge of reacting during a stress.
We all awake?
So, reacting in a stressful situation, right? Everybody's amygdala is reacting.
It's been activated, yeah.
So, and we see correlations with behavior in the same way. We see people being able to focus and concentrate, learn, and remember better. We're seeing that people are better able to regulate their emotions, to deal with stress. Blood pressure changes going in a positive way, glucose levels being more healthy. So we're seeing all kinds of benefits from this mindfulness being integrated into our lives.
Okay, so a lot of people now, they pray and they do yoga. They also do a lot of meditation. Is mindfulness the same thing, or is that a little bit different?
It's the same thing and it's kind of different. So it's a little bit of both of those things. When we're being mindful, it's the act of observing life as it is, as it's happening right now. And when we meditate, it's more about the act of contemplating something for greater knowledge. So we use meditation in mindfulness, and we use mindfulness in meditation. So they are interchangeable, but uniquely different.
It's hard because those terms are used differently in different settings and different locations and who you're talking to. So you kind of have to orient yourself to who's talking and what they're talking about to kind of tell, are they talking about mindfulness or are they talking about more meditation and spiritual things? So it's confusing.
Yeah, okay, so when we're doing meditation, they always say you should do this many minutes of meditation every single day. For mindfulness, how long should a session be?
Obviously, it's one of those things that the more you do it, the more you're going to benefit from it. However, I just heard you say you almost have a 2-year-old. I also have a mother of young children. I have almost 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. It's hard. We're all busy for different reasons, and it's really hard to set aside an hour a day to do mindfulness. However, we can be more mindful as we go through our everyday life. The other day, I was sitting out in the yard playing with my kids, and I just looked down, and I noticed the blades of grass, and I said, okay, they're round at the base. I never noticed that before. And then halfway up, that's when the leaves come out, and they're the flat blades of grass. And then I noticed how many ants were underneath me, that I thought there was nothing there. And then I thought, okay, and the crabapple tree is starting to drop the crab apples, and I was picking them up with my daughter. There weren't just a couple. We found a whole bowl full. And as I become more and more mindful, I started hearing the birds. And I started to feel the breeze on my skin. And I would have told you there's nothing out there and it's quiet. But as you become more mindful, you get deeper into it and realize, so I was doing nothing different in my life. You can do mindfulness as you're eating, as you're walking, as you're doing your everyday activities and just integrate it into your life so it doesn't have to take up a huge amount of time to get the benefits from it.
Okay, so you just explained a little bit about how it works and how you incorporate it into your life. So can you show us exactly how it works?
Can I do the paced breathing first?
Sure.
Okay. One of the most simple mindfulness things you can do is your breathing. And everybody does this all day long, every day. If you're not, there's a huge problem and you should attend to that first. So paced breathing is one of the first things we teach people, and it's really very simple to do. So if you will, what I'd like you to do is get comfortable in your chairs. Maybe both feet on the floor, your hands in your lap, but they can be up, they can be down, they can be crossed, whatever's comfortable for you. And what we're going to do, we're going to inhale to the count of 4, and we're going to exhale to the count of 5. So let's do this for about 30 seconds. Do you want to time us, Kyle?
I have no way of.
Oh, I'll pretend that I know what 30 seconds
I can
is
time
like, okay? So here we go. So just count to yourself. Inhale to the count of 4, and then exhale to 5. Continue to do this. And if you practice this faithfully, what happens is that you will activate the relaxation process or response so much quicker so that when you really need this in a tight situation, you can focus on your breathing and your body will naturally just start to relax. Muscle memory, it's a wonderful thing.
So I want you to keep breathing. And as you do, I want you to visualize. Thanks. I want you to visualize a safe, relaxing place. It may be the beach. It might be the woods. It might be a meadow. It might be somewhere you've been before, or it might be just a place in your imagination. And as you visualize this place, I want you to really think about what this place is like. Are you there by yourself? Are you walking or are you sitting? What do you see? Are there movements of the grass? Is there light reflecting off the waves? What do you hear? Can you hear the waves or the rustle of the leaves? Are there animals around that you can hear? If you reach and pick up some ground from where you are, what does that ground feel like in your hands? Can you feel the breeze? What's the temperature? What do you smell? Can you smell the earth or the salt of the sea? And as you lick your lips, can you taste that salt or earthy taste in your mouth? Is it day or night? Really picture this spot in your mind. And then I want you to take a couple more long, deep breaths. And then bring yourself back to this room. And know that you can go back to that place anytime, anywhere, and experience that relaxing spot. Even if you have to go to the bathroom, get your own space. Sometimes even the bathroom's not safe at my house. But in your car, wherever you are, you can go back and use those there's lots of mindfulness exercise. There's videos that can help you visualize those places, play some of the sounds maybe of a beach or a park or a safe place for you.
I wanted to mention one more thing on the paced breathing is I just happened to come across a recent study about how beneficial that paced breathing is for hot flashes. And we all probably have experienced some of that at one time or another. So just kind of remember, if you haven't experienced it, it's coming. So.
I feel a little bit more relaxed already. Do you? Yeah. It's amazing how that works. So is there any good way to teach my child about mindfulness? And, dual question, can it help with ADHD and at school?
Yes and yes. Both of those work. In my practice, I have taught a lot of parents how to do mindfulness breathing with their children as they're tucking them into bed at night and just getting them good and comfortable and some good relaxing breaths. And I've even talked to them about doing like a body scan where they start just simply at their toes and focus your attention on your toes, and then you slowly move up to the rest of the parts of the body. But you encourage them in that process to just relax and kind of be more comfortable in it. Another technique that we use with smaller children, and this is for teachers, I do a lot of work with teachers that use this actually in the classroom, which helps with the ADD and the concentration and focus and of course, emotion regulation and better behavior in the classroom, and it's called a breathing, a breathing buddy, where they'll actually take their favorite stuffed animal, they'll get it, they'll lay flat on the floor, they'll put this little breathing buddy on their tummies, and they will watch it rise and fall, and rise and fall, and it re-regulates them. So this teaches them emotion regulation and concentration both at the same time. So
We've done it even with young babies that come in, that are in a strange setting and crying, and you can put them on your chest and do that breathing, and it's amazing how their breathing starts to become in sync with yours. It's kind of automatic. And I always tell people, watch the babies when they're sleeping at night, because they're the very best belly breathers ever. You see that little tummy blowing up and coming back in. I think they just have the stress as they're sleeping is kind of gone. And so that's the kind of the deep belly breaths that we want to mimic in that moment too. And it's certainly, when we talk about ADHD, some of those same parts of your brain that I was talking about earlier, right? Those are all the symptoms of ADHD. They can't regulate their emotions. They can't focus and concentrate. So mindfulness is helping with all those areas of the brain that they're struggling with already.
Very interesting. Okay, and like I said earlier today, these questions came from people here in this room and also online. So the next question is, I recently got out of an abusive relationship. Can you offer some tips on how I can use mindfulness to heal emotionally?
Sure. So you've been in a situation that hasn't been safe for a long time. Your brain and your body is tense and is really quick. Our brains are wired so that they learn over time. We used to say you can't teach old dog new tricks. It's not true. Our brain is what we call plastic. It's kind of like muscles. Those neurons that communicate for each other are just kind of like muscles when you start working out or you start running, and pretty soon those areas get stronger and stronger. And so if you've been in a situation where you've been practicing building the fight or flight response system, your amygdala, it's learned to very quickly get tense, and you, without even thinking about it, you're kind of tense and quick to react all the time. So if you start doing mindfulness, you practice being in a safe place, you start decreasing the gray matter in your amygdala, get it to relax, teach your body how to relax those parts of your body that are going to be relaxing, are going to learn to relax over time. So very important there to really go to safe place, remind yourself that you're okay now, it's done, and kind of retrain your body to use some of those more relaxation parts than the I'm scared, I don't know what to do, I gotta get ready to fight or run. If that part of your body is done. Our bodies are amazing, right? It automatically got us ready to either fight or run in a scary situation, and that was what we needed it to do. And now we need it to relax. So it will automatically get there with time in a safe situation, but mindfulness will help us get there a little bit faster.
Okay, the next question. What are some homeopathic remedies for anxiety, and is aromatherapy beneficial?
I think we talked about some of the homeopathic with the mindfulness and the meditation and just being able to practice that. When you get into the aromatherapy, that's a little bit out of our league, but we do have some thoughts on it. You've heard about all of the lavenders that help us sleep and help us relax, and the new Scentsy sprays that are out there, and diffusers that you can fill up your air with.
The essential oils, sure.
All of that. If it works, I guess use it if you find that it's helpful. I guess one of the things that we would caution about would be using things that are not safe. You need to make sure the product that you use is as natural as you can possibly get. You also have to be mindful of allergies and asthma and these.
Pregnancy.
Yeah.
You want to be careful. But definitely, we're starting to see some of the research come out. There's not a lot of research out there showing the benefits of it, but I haven't seen any negative either. So I think it's just a matter of time, and we'll learn a little bit more about the benefits in that area too.
Okay, any last thoughts?
A challenge from us too, to see if you can integrate mindfulness into your own life, even if it's just part of your everyday activities, to be more present in whatever moment you're doing. We, in this day and age, we've taught each other to be proud and do as many things as we can and get as much done. And I think our bodies just are over-regulated all the time, and there's a time and a place for that. But we also need to take a moment to do one thing at a time and really pay attention to what you're doing. So I challenge you to find a way to put mindfulness into your life, even for just a few minutes.
I'm going to go a little bit farther because I liked Kyle's example about your own backyard. That's something you have access to every day. So go sit on the back steps and just be aware of what's there. Don't judge it, just let it be. Notice that.
Thank you so much to both of you. Please give a round of applause to Dr. Cross and Karen Ledford.